Welcome, everybody. It is the Wise Guys here for episode number 30, the big 3-0. I am Brandon Capizzello. Excuse me. That is John Tortorelli, and he is Justin Ray. And we are here to bring you week 4 previews. We're going to be talking about Miami versus Cincinnati tonight, Thursday night football. We're going to be talking about Jacksonville versus Philadelphia. We're going to be talking about Bills, Ravens. We're going to talk about Sunday night football, Chiefs, Bucks, possible Super Bowl matchup. And we're going to get into Monday night football, the Rams versus the 49ers. And we're also going to pick the rest of the slate of this week, the week 4 NFL games. We're going to pick the rest of them. And then we're going to end it off with the NBA East Central Division rankings. We're moving on. We're going to finish up the Eastern Conference, and then we're going to move on to the West next week. So, John, Justin, how y'all doing this morning?
Buenos dias, guys.
Buenos dias.
I just had my breakfast, my cereal and Greek yogurt. That is my daily intake every morning. So I got my energy.
One thing we recorded last night, one thing that we didn't add on to that list, NFL Pro Bowl being replaced with flag football and skills competitions. How about that? A change that's long overdue. I've been an NFL fan for about 12 years now, and I never watched the Pro Bowl one time. Maybe once.
Not once?
I think when I was like 7, but it was too dull to remember. So I remember Tyler Eifert getting hurt in it, and that was like the end of his Pro Bowl career. Candidacy.
Yeah, we'll get into that at the end of the show. So let's dive right into it. Let's kick it off. Who wants to kick off? Miami versus Cincinnati. We got Cincinnati at home. They're favored by 3.5. Lyle Collins is the only guy that's really a big name that's questionable. He's probably going to play, but look at this slate of Miami injuries that are all questionable. So they're all probably going to play, but just the names that are questionable already. Teron Armstead, questionable with a toe. Raekwon Davis, questionable with a knee. Xavier Howard, questionable with a groin. Cedric Wilson Jr., questionable with ribs. Jalen Waddle, questionable with a groin. And Tua Tagovailoa, he's questionable with that back because, he got knocked on his ass last week, got up a little wobbly. So, Justin, tell me how you're feeling. Even the injuries are starting to pile up. Even though they're not going to be out, they're starting to pile up.
This is the marathon that is the NFL season. That's just going to happen. You're going to see a lot of notable names that are going to pop up on that injury list, and that's really all it is. They're just popping up there. They'll be there. Every single player in the NFL is dealing with some sort of injury going into every week. They're just tough enough to go through it. I mean, you remember for all these years, Tom Brady used to pop up as questionable every single week, and he's fine. I expect these guys to be fine. I expect them to be out there. Tua was the one that was questionable initially going into it, but it looks like he's slated to play, and that's key for me. Tua being on the field for Miami. I don't want to see Teddy B. You already know what he brings. But Tua, his accuracy, what he brings there, winning football for the Miami Dolphins, that's exactly what you're looking for. But I want to touch on the Bengals real quick. Everybody seems to be saying, okay, they're back. They found their mojo. You played the Jets. You did what you were supposed to do. You didn't dazzle us. You didn't do anything spectacular. Sure, your defense held them to 4 field goals. That's nice. But had you been playing any other team with some sort of expectations, it'd probably be a different game because you didn't light the world on fire. You didn't. Not in my eyes. That's exactly what you're supposed to do when you're going up against the New York Jets, because last year you laid an absolute dud in the same stadium. So yeah, you just wrote your wrongs. You just finally got over that hump. Now you got a win in the column, but now you're going up against the 3-0 Miami Dolphins, who, like I told you guys yesterday, I feel are the most battle-tested team so far this season. Tua healthy, Waddle on the field, and Waddle's an absolute monster. Back-to-back 100-yard games. Tyreek Hill gets a ton of praise, but Jalen Waddle deserves it just as much. I'm going to roll Miami this week. I don't think Cincinnati's legit. I think it's a AFC Championship hangover.
I would agree with you largely on that. The one thing with this matchup that would worry me if I'm a Bengal fan, is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle going up against that cornerback tandem in Cincinnati. I mean, they're a cooked chicken. Even if Tua were not to play, let's say in theory, I don't know how you're stopping those guys with what Mike McDaniel can draw up. You look what the Bengals offense has been through 3 weeks and what the Dolphins offense has been with a brand new rookie head coach installing a completely new system. It is night and day. Now, I do think the Bengals roster is better than the Dolphins. At the end of the day, would I be surprised if they start the year 1-3? Not at all. They couldn't even beat Cooper Rush and the Cowboys. This Dolphins defense, I said it before, it's pretty good. It's around the level of Dallas, if not even better, more well-rounded. They've been having a very good season on that end. I had the Dolphins as well coming in and winning on the road. And at the end of the day, I think Tua's going to have another strong performance. So we'll give him 270 yards and 3 touchdown passes, 2 of which in the second half.
Okay. So you guys are both going with Miami, and I'm going the other way. I'm going Cincinnati. When I think about Cincinnati in this game, I think, all right, so they're at home, they're in Cincinnati. First time being there since week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were on the road the last 2 weeks against in Dallas and in New York. And I know what Justin said, right? He said the Bengals beat the Jets, and that's what they're supposed to do. He didn't dazzle them or anything, and that's true. I'll give you that. But a team like this, all it needs is that one victory where you can gain your confidence. It's kind of like I equate it to, like, think of a boxer, a professional boxer, like a world-renowned one, name one, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, whatever. They always put these guys through like a little, like before a big fight, they'll put them in like a cupcake fight, like a no-name fight to get the guy's confidence back up, to get him ready. And then now he goes into the big fight with a lot of confidence and he's ready to go. That's kind of what I thought the Jets and the Bengals game was. The Bengals needed that, game where now they got their confidence back. All right, they beat up on the little guy, that's sure, whatever, but they got confidence. So, and confidence is key in the NFL, because if you're confident and you believe in yourself, look at the New York Giants in 2008, 2007. They weren't more talented, they weren't better coached, but they believed in themselves.
But they're going up against a team that's just as confident.
And beyond that, the Bengals never lost confidence. This is a team that's not going to waver in that category.
I'm not, but you got to think, going 0-2, knowing the statistics, they're still looking at it and saying, we got to get it going. They're not as confident as they would be if they were 2-0, 1-1, because they're looking at it and going, we've lost both games.
This is the type of team that puts that all behind them and just focuses on playing their style. They're much like your Rams. Really, we don't care sort of team. We're going to go out there, take shots, and when we throw an interception, when we have mistakes, we're going to put all that behind us and just move forward.
Yes. That's true, yes. But even subconsciously, it's still there. Everybody's feeling it, all right? You guys just went 0-2. You're 0-2. You're not living up what you were supposed to. You're supposed to be 2-0. So, and another thing I want to bring up about Miami, right? You guys kind of just brushed off the Tua injury. That's a major concern, all right? And I know it was the New York Jets, but Cincinnati got after the Joe Flacco. 10 QB hits and 4 sacks. Not Trey. What's his first name? Yeah, it is Trey. Trey Hendrickson last week, 2.5 sacks and 4 QB hits. He got after Joe Flacco. If Teron Armstead, questionable, if he gets hurt in the game or if he doesn't go, that's a liability right there on the left side. I'm just saying, we've seen Cincinnati's defense show up. I think they're a better unit than they were last year, especially in the back end.
And you know who's out in this game? DJ Reader, one of the best nose tackles in the entire league. That's a huge loss to the Bengals. And as well as, of course, Lyle Collins, you mentioned before, has been absolutely awful this year in pass protection. Yeah, questionable. And Jonah Williams have, like I've said before, that Twitter meme, you guys can come through whatever you want, hit our quarterback, we don't mind.
And I just look at it and I say, And you know what? And I'd be remiss not to bring up the fact uh Tyreek Hill called out Eli Apple and said, "I got one for you." So that's going to be an interesting matchup to see them lined up against each other and to see what Tua like. Does anybody know what he was talking about? Like, is there some beef or whatever between these
Eli
two?
Apple's just trying to stay in the NFL. That's what it is.
I
But he
think
didn't say anything.
it was some beef going back to the AFC title game last season.
You guys can come and see me in the Super Bowl or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, losing TJ
Oh.
Reader is absolutely critical for that Bengals front seven. It's like a completely different unit with that. It's the wall of Berlin against the run. So,
Yeah.
anything else for this game before we move on?
There was something else. Oh, I basically my pick. I'm picking Cincinnati. I mean, does anybody got a final score?
24-23.
24-23.
27-23.
27-23.
I think both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle find the end zone.
I'll go 28-24. Cincinnati.
20-24.
28-24, Justin.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're talking some football games before we get into the others. Maybe it's time to talk about our buddies at BetStamp. What do you guys think?
Let's
I'm
talk about
digging it.
Best.
Let's go for it. You know, guys, BetStamp is your go-to platform for the absolute best odds in sports betting. Now, there are so many sportsbooks out there, but none of you guys, especially me, has the time to go to every single app and compare odds. Not me, not you. But guess what? BetStamp does the job for you. By line shopping, BetStamp finds you the best available odds at one sportsbook versus the worst. So do your homework, because if you're feeling confident about a bet, place that bet with a sportsbook that's going to give you the most bread. Come on, guys. You can also track all of your bets in one place. And here's the best part. If you know your boy, if it's free, it's me. So join us at BetStamp and tell them we sent you by using our referral code WISEGUYS. That's WISEGUYS. I repeat, WISEGUYS. Wise guys.
Yes, and I just gotta say it again because he said it. Guys, it's free, man. It's free. So just download the app, create an account, use the referral code like Justin said, Wise Guys, and start betting smarter and start betting simpler.
Smarter, not harder. Simple
Smarter,
as that.
not harder. Come on, man. All right, and one more little fact about the Cincinnati and Miami game. So since 2021, the Dolphins are undefeated against starting quarterbacks whose last names contain the letter O and have lost every other game otherwise. So if we all know Joe Burrow, there's an O in the last name. Does the streak continue? Dolphins are 11-0 against starting quarterbacks with an O in their last name. That's crazy. So I love these little fun stats that people, I don't know how they come upon it. It's just these are the crazy fun little stats that the internet's able to pull out of their hat.
Unbelievable.
So are we guaranteeing a win here then?
I mean, I'm still
I guess
picking
so.
season. All right. Let's move on to the next game. We got Jacksonville and we got the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are in Philadelphia. They are favored by 6.5 points. John, I'm going to
Eagles are
kick it to
starting
you.
off 4-0 this week, boys.
Okay, go ahead.
Every NFL season, we had that one team get off to a super hot start. And ultimately, where it culminates is with an easy schedule. This Eagles team last year dominated inferior competition. And while the Jaguars this year are the best team in the AFC South, they're new and revitalized. At the end of the day, their secondary has been phenomenal through 3 weeks. And I think they're only going to continue to build off of that. Against the Jaguars' weapon room, it's not very good. I know Christian Kirk can tear up the Chargers, but this Eagles team is complete, and Jalen Hurts is going to outperform Trevor Lawrence and show, hey, look, I'm top 5 quarterback right now. You can't stop me. And I'm not saying he ranks there, Bram. That's the level he's playing at currently. And with that pace, given all the weapons they have, A.J. Brown, this one, I'm expecting to have a big-time day. Maybe 2 touchdowns, 130 yards? What the heck? He's honestly a sleeper pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but so is Jalen Hurts. This offense is so dynamic. So I got Eagles winning 31-20.
So I do have the Eagles winning too, more so because I just think that, man, they're just on fire. They're clicking on all cylinders, and I can't really see Jacksonville, who's still finding their place in the league, gonna go out there and win this game. But to highlight something, we can highlight Trevor Lawrence, man, because what a special talent that guy is. He had an ugly rookie season, but not entirely his fault. Finishing the season with 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Played all 17 games. In 3 games this year, he already has 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's playing smart football, not throwing it away, putting his team in position to win, beat some very good teams already to start the year, beating the Colts, who we had high expectations for going into the season, and then beating the Chargers. While granted that this was an injury-filled Chargers team, you still went into their house and beat them. So I'm going to give credit where credit is due to Jacksonville. But going into Philly, that is a tough environment. Those Philly fans are no joke. They'll boo Santa Claus and they'll boo you too. So I'm rolling with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts with another big day. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy rushes for 2 touchdowns, throws 2 more.
So I mean, not only did they beat the Chargers, they put it on the Chargers. I mean, 38-10. They really just put it on them. Trevor Lawrence played very, very well. He had a 72 QBR. Robinson, he looked real good. 17 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown. So I say to
Not
myself,
against this D-line.
I say to myself, well, not against this D-line. So I was just looking at that, actually. You know the Eagles are allowing 110 yards rushing this year? You know how many yards Jacksonville's allowing? 55 rush yards this year. So I say to myself,
but they also haven't won against a dual threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts yet.
Okay, well, put that face. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, Carson Wentz can scramble. Justin Herbert can scramble, but he probably wasn't really wanting to scramble last game due to the rib cartilage. But I get your point. They haven't faced that prototypical dual threat quarterback. But I look at Jacksonville. I'm high. We also got to bring up the fact Dougie P's back in town, baby. You know, he's looking for a little revenge. So he's got his guy now as quarterback. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Darius Slay. Didn't practice yesterday due to a back. Boston Scott didn't practice yesterday due to ribs. And Miles Sanders was limited in practice yesterday with a hip. And Devonta Smith, questionable, limited yesterday with the back. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, injury list, not really concerning at all. I mean, Shaquem Griffin, if I'm saying his name correctly, he's questionable, but it looks like he's on track to play. So I look at Jacksonville, they're healthy, they're firing on all cylinders. They just beat the Los Angeles Chargers, who some people were saying is going to be the Super Bowl representative in the AFC this year. I think myself included. I'm off that train now. I'm looking at Jacksonville and I'm starting to think, boy, is Trevor Lawrence here now? Is it now? And it's not I got next, it's I got now. So and what I'm saying is look at the offensive weapons he's got that none of us are really high on. I mean, I like Robinson. Etienne's a good back. I know Marvin Jones is a solid veteran receivers. Christian Kirk, he's solid speedster. And the other guy that I'm drawing a blank on, but Zay Jones, yes. They're all solid guys, right? But none of them blow you away, right? Imagine if Trevor Lawrence was in Miami. Imagine if he was in Las Vegas. The way he's playing with these kind of players. It's very I gotta say Tom Brady-esque.
I don't know if you guys remember this. So when we were talking about the Jaguars and we mentioned free agents, I threw out one name that I would love to see just go out there and just be the main number one, nothing to lose, just go out there and play football. And I said, I would love to see Odell in Jacksonville.
It's not going to happen, though.
Listen,
He's going to be in LA. He's going to be in
had the
LA.
opportunity to be a true number one again. And just, man, you know how lethal that offense may be?
It could be, but I just see
Only
him
if they
going
play
to
on
LA.
grass, Justin.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I forgot about
Oh,
that.
listen. There should be grass. Let's not get started on that. All right. But I gotta say, I know it's Philly is at home and they're favored by 6.5 points, which I think is a little disrespectful to Jacksonville. If I'm not mistaken, they were the underdogs by a lot of points last week against the Chargers. They weren't given really respect. I'm taking Jacksonville, and I'm definitely if you want to add that to your parlay, I don't think they're getting beat by 6.5 points. I just don't see that. I think that's a lock. I'll take them in a close game, 24-21, somewhere in that range.
I had them winning 31-20.
Yeah, 31-20. You added a bigger.
Yeah, I'm going to go 34-23.
34. Wow, you guys both 11 points. Okay.
The Jaguars have a phenomenally young quarterback, but they have a crappy team still. It's lackluster. I mean, they've been the worst team in football the last 2 years, and not a whole lot has changed.
But it's
outside of the
about
coach.
what do you mean? Now a lot has changed. If they were the team they were last year, they would have lost to they lost to the Commanders, but they wouldn't have even had a chance to come back in that game. They wouldn't have beaten the Colts 24-0. They didn't even allow a point, and they wouldn't have beat a Los Angeles Chargers team 38-10. Like those are impressive wins. 24-0 and 38-10.
When you include actual context, that 24-0 victory, it does take away from the impressiveness. The Colts, you talk about being offensively challenged, they were literally handicapped in that game.
Okay, but still 24-0.
Yeah, no, it is impressive.
They had a good defensive performance, but I mean, the Colts had no one to get going.
And what about 38-10?
Look at the Chargers' injuries. I mean, lose your left tackle, lose your best player in the defense.
Bring it up. They did what they got to do, though, right?
Sure.
You know, the Chargers had injuries, but losing by 28 is a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. But I will say one thing. If the Jacksonville Jaguars walk into Philadelphia and win, I think we're going to have a serious conversation about how good this Jacksonville team is. Because those are 2 wins on the road that, and especially going up against the Eagles, I know John's probably like, all right, maybe pump the brakes a little bit. But if they can do that, their next couple of games, Texans, Colts again, who you just beat 24-0. I don't know.
Did you say they're contenders?
I'm not ready to hop on that one yet.
I do want to shout out Devin Lloyd out of Utah. 3 games in, 2 interceptions, 24 tackles, leading all rookies. Pretty darn impressive.
You saw that play that I forget his first name, Walker. Trayvon. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure. Trayvon Walker.
Pick.
You saw that interception he made? That was great. That's high football IQ right there, man. That's high football IQ. So I got Jacksonville. You guys both got the Eagles. And you guys both got the Eagles covering 6.5, which I'm a little surprised by. I thought, Jacksonville would get a little more respect from both of you guys, especially Justin. But
they get enough of my respect. So if I just go the other way once, they won't be hurt.
Jacksonville. Duval. Let's go, T-Law. All right, moving on to the next game. The Buffalo Bills are going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. But guess what? The Buffalo Bills are favored by 3 points. Bills coming off a loss. Baltimore coming off a win. Justin, who you leaning to? Your boy Josh Allen?
Yeah, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to roll with Josh Allen. I initially had the Bills starting the season undefeated for quite a while. So Miami kind of shocked me a bit. But, yeah, I'm going to roll with Buffalo. Brandon, you've been very critical on the Ravens pass defense. And this is probably one of the best passers in the game, one of the best receiving cores in the game. The greatest, I think it's the best duo, quarterback receiver duo in football at the moment. I think Buffalo comes in there and puts up points big time. I see this game. I see the Ravens also scoring too, but not quite enough to win this ball game. I got the Bills winning 38-33.
33. All right. I mean, I got to bring up that this game there's a bunch of injuries. I mean, it looks like Jordan Phillips is not going to play Sunday for the Bills. Dawson Knox is limited with a foot. You got Micah Hyde. He's on the injured IR. He's, I think, out for the season now. This is first four. So next week they look like they're getting Tre'Davious White back, but they're not going to have him this week. Jordan Poyer, he missed last week. Hopefully he plays this week. Dealing with a lot of injuries. Same with the Ravens side. They got a lot of injuries. So with that being said, it's in Baltimore. I think Lamar is playing at an extremely high level. The
MVP.
coaching is the coaching is they're both really good head coaches. I would give the edge to John Harbaugh. It's close, but I'm gonna give it to Baltimore. I'm gonna take Baltimore. I'm gonna say 31-28 Baltimore. I think it's gonna be a very close game. I think they're gonna put up some points.
You want to know what this game has the makings to be?
Game of the year?
Bills Ravens has the makings to be an absolute shootout. You look at both secondaries, especially Buffalo. Dane Jackson's coming back from a neck injury. That Monday Night Football scare is so scary. I'm happy for the Pittsburgh alumni. He's back out there on the practice field. Limited participant. Jordan Poyer's back out there as well with his foot, and Ed Oliver at his ankle as well. So those are some of the limited participants. This team signed Xavier Rhodes. That is how weak they are. Benford, the 6th-round pick who's been starting for them, he had the hand, which I missed last week. I mean, the Bills' secondary is absolutely torn to shreds. And you look at what Lamar Jackson has done through 3 weeks, there's no signs he's not going to continue putting up these MVP-type numbers. And at the end of the day, the storyline here that's so exciting is the top 2 quarterbacks in the 2018 NFL draft that worked their tails off to reach an MVP level. When they came into the league, they were maybe the 2 most raw quarterbacks out of that class. And to see the work that they've done in the 5 years since, it speaks volumes to the luck those 2 franchises had and taking them in the draft and them paying out. I mean, both teams did the necessary things for them to develop to reach this point. But now I think it's up to those 2 quarterbacks. And when you put it between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, I'm going to give the nod to Josh. I think coming off their loss last week, this team, they're going to be on the road again, but it's not like playing at Hard Rock Stadium. I'm expecting them to pick up where they left off with Josh Allen taking the keys ahead of Lamar Jackson in the MVP race. So Bills 38-34.
So okay, all right, yeah, 38-34. All right, yeah, you got a big shootout. Yeah, I have this is a freaking interesting game. It's real close. I mean, the Bills' defense is beat up in the back end and starting to get injuries in the front end too now. Baltimore's pass defense, has just not shown up for the last 19 games. Like I've told you guys, they're dead last in pass defense last 20 games, I think it is now. Yeah, this has the makings to be a shootout. Justin, did you give your final score? Did you think it's gonna be
Yeah, I said 38 Buffalo, Baltimore 33.
38-33. All right, so you guys got it pretty close. Okay.
And one thing, Brendan, that you were worried about, Lamar got sacked 4 times last week. This week, Ronnie Stanley, full participant. First time this year. Getting him back is nice, but this offensive line lacks chemistry. And to protect this guy, Lamar, in the pocket, they're going to need some improvement on that part.
Yeah, Von Miller's going to have to have another big game. He's going to have to show up.
You know,
Oh,
no,
go ahead.
my
As
No,
he
no,
usually
go
does
ahead.
in big games.
Yeah.
the
Go ahead, Justin.
Baltimore defense gave up 321 pass yards to Mac Jones and the very non-explosive Patriots offense last week. So there's not too many teams that I know, when I see Josh Allen throw for 400 yards and I only see 19 points as a result, that's just an outlier. That's not going to happen all the time. So like John, I think they're going to they're going to throw the ball, man. And Josh Allen might have 3-4 touchdowns to show for it.
You want to know the weird thing when I look at the Bills? Brandon, you talk about how they didn't commit to running the football with Brian Dable. With Ken Dorsey, there is more of a commitment that we didn't see enough of last week, where they want to open up the passing game, but not being so constant in throwing the football. And I think finding that balance for Buffalo late in the year is critical. If you can't run the football and you're doing it 6-7 times total in the playoffs, excluding Josh Allen's rushing attempts, you're setting yourself, you're going to be behind the eight ball because any team in cold weather is going to need to run it at a high level. So you could see now in September that is a priority for them. I hope against this Ravens defense, we can see them running at least 15 times because James Cook, his speed out of the second round can make a big difference in that running back room.
I had this another fun little stat that I didn't send you guys because I wanted to be a little surprised and shocked, and I wanted to hear you guys' reactions when I told you this. So John has it 38-34. Justin has it 38-33. If my math serves me correct, that is a one-score game, correct? So close game. Okay. So I'm going to hit you with this, right? Worst record in one-score games for the last 2 seasons, including playoffs. You got the Panthers, who are 3-8, the Lions, who are 2-8-1, the Texans, who are 0-6-1, and the worst team, the Buffalo Bills, at 0-7. Don't shrug your shoulders like that's not an issue. That doesn't. Little concerning. Last 2 seasons in one-score games, your boy, the MVP, and his Buffalo Bills, goose egg, 0-7. They can't win close games. They beat up on other teams, which is fine. But not every game is going to be a blowout. When you get to the playoffs, it's not going to be against our Patriots. You're not going to face offensively challenged, as John says, teams like that. You're going to face Kansas City that can go punch for punch with you, that's more experienced, that has a better head coach. You're going to go against these teams. So you guys aren't going to sit there and tell me that stat I just gave you isn't concerning. They're worse than the Texans.
Let's have that conversation again when Tre'Davious White and the defense is healthy.
This is last 2 seasons.
Tre'Davious White wasn't playing last season.
2 seasons.
That's fine.
So not just this season, last season and the year before.
And I guarantee you that if I went back to a couple of those games, I wish you had the exact game so we could look at the stats and what caused that team to lose. But I guarantee you it wasn't Josh Allen throwing the game away.
I didn't say I said Josh Allen led Buffalo Bills teams. Well, okay, let's go back to last week. Was it not Josh Allen's fault? Did he not miss a wide open receiver that he skipped the pass to? Easy pass. The MVP didn't make the play? He didn't make the play?
MVPs lose games sometimes too.
No,
Brandon,
not lose games. He didn't make the play.
When you drop back 70 times and throw the ball 63 times, that can happen.
And who wait, my hand's up. Who was the one saying that all before the season started? Who was saying that's a problem? Who said it? This guy, right? Didn't I say that? Run the ball. It's a close game. Why are you dropping back to pass 63 times?
You're 100% correct.
That's not. Again, that doesn't lead to longevity, which is what I'm talking about. But
there's that commitment to running the football. It's kind of the Bills.
Yeah, well, they need to fix that. 0-7. Goose egg.
Missed the easy game, huh?
Missed the easy path.
1-7 this Sunday.
All right.
Talk me
Moving
at
on
4
to
o'clock.
Sunday Night Football on NBC.
Sunday.
No, they don't say that. That's Monster Trucks, man. We listen to Carrie Underwood is the voice of Sunday Night Football.
I didn't hear you singing it, so
Oh my God. Get your head in the game, Justin. All right, so we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers well, actually, we should probably say this. Prayers go out to everybody in Tampa Bay and in Florida. Hope everybody's doing good. My prayers go out to all the families and friends, any lost ones or any injuries. You know, that I hate to see that. I really do. So this game looks like it's not going to be in Tampa. I think they're talking Minnesota, I believe was the last report I saw. Kansas City is favored by -1, so they're only favored by 1 point. So it's not a big edge for Tampa Bay. They're getting Mike Evans back. Julio Jones was limited with a knee yesterday. Chris Godwin was limited yesterday. So it looks like they're going to get at least one of those guys back. You know what I mean? They're definitely getting Mike Evans back. So if they get Julio or Chris Godwin back this week, that's just a plus. This is a possible Super Bowl matchup. Give me, I mean, you guys know where I'm going with this. So let's get a little more creative here. John, who you got? Sunday Night Football in Minnesota, it looks like.
You may call me a sucker for Kansas City, but give me Patrick Mahomes and those boys. Last week,
I'm not going that way.
you're not.
No.
I had a dramatic pause right there, but let me hear why.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know if you had anything else to say after that.
Last week was a fluky loss. That was a game they absolutely should have won. We talked about it last night. That Chris Jones penalty was the stupidest thing I have ever seen. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, that literally costs your team the game. That's a problem. I don't really like to complain about that sort of stuff. But that single-handedly lost the Chiefs the game to go along with the missed kick, the faked kick, the botched punt by Sky Moore. All of those things coincide to the Colts barely beating the Chiefs at the very end of the game. What did Patrick Mahomes do? Set up Juju Smith-Schuster on like a 35-yard gain. Very next play, they miscommunicated a slant route, interception, the game's over. I think with another week of development, another week of practice, that connection between the receivers and Pat Mahomes will only improve. And let me hear why you get the Buccaneers taking it.
So I know yesterday I spoke about concerns about Tampa Bay, but I did tell Brandon, I was like, listen, this still was my team coming out of the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. I do believe with Mike Evans coming back that it will be enough. It will be enough. I don't think while Kansas City does have an very explosive offense, I still feel like it's not the same that it used to be. You're missing that Tyreek Hill impact, and those are some big shoes to fill if you're expecting McCole Hardman, Sky Moore, Juju, and Sky Moore is not even getting as many opportunities in the receiving game whatsoever. So expecting MVS, Juju to fill those shoes, that's big time. And I don't think anybody can replicate exactly what Tyreek Hill does. So for that, I really think Tampa finds their way a little bit on offense. They start to make a little plays. I would like to see Tom get the tight ends involved. I want to see more of Cameron Braid out there. I want Mike Evans to have one of those big time games. Can we get Julio back on the field? Because in week 1, it really looked like they had a special connection going. He was throwing the deep ball, and he was throwing the deep ball with beauty. So I'm hoping that if those two receivers are back, and this week it's in Tampa Bay.
Well, not in Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah. Not in Tampa Bay, my bad.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. So it's really not a home game whatsoever, but hey, I got Tampa winning this one. The defense is so good. I don't think Kansas City has faced a defense like this just yet.
And just to follow up, Mike Evans is going to play. He's the one who's confirmed because last game was a suspension, so he's back. So that's why I said if they get Godwin, or I don't think they're going to get Godwin. I think Julio is a better shot to play. If they get either one of those, that's just a cherry on top. one thing I got to bring up: both the Kansas City and Tampa Bay's defenses are playing very well this season. Obviously, Tampa Bay is the best defense in the league. I mean, they've played outstanding football. When I look at, I mean, Kansas City's coming off a rough performance. They only scored 17 points. Guess what? Tampa Bay, most points allowed this season, 14 points to the Green Bay Packers. I could see another low-scoring game. And you give Tom Brady his number one guy, Mike Evans, back, who's probably looking for a little bit of a vengeance, not just the Kansas City. He's just probably going to be playing a little angry, a little ready to go. And he's a tough son of a bitch. So give me Tampa Bay. Give me Tom. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I could see it being 21-17, 21-18. Tampa Bay pulls it out. The GOAT of GOATs.
We get it. You like Tom Brady. This Chiefs secondary is the most underrated part of that team. L'Jarius Sneed and Rashad Fenton. And
Homeboy was getting worked. Those DBs were getting worked by the Los Angeles Chargers. Mike Williams was scraping every single guy they put in front of him.
That's what Mike Williams does.
No, he doesn't. What did he do last week to the Jacksonville Jaguars defense? Crickets. That was his performance last week. Nothing. They worked that Kansas City. He worked every single. I watched him literally line up whoever he lined up against. And Sneed was the guy who's the best guy you were just about to go into. He got one-handed touchdown grabbed on.
That was very good coverage.
But it was better offense.
Sure. Of course, we'll talk about this Chiefs defense. It would be we have to mention Willie Gay has been suspended 4 games for violating the league's personal code of conduct. So losing him, it hurts. But at the end of the day, I trust Spagnuolo, and this defense is better than what it was a year ago. So, I mean, adding Carlos Dunlap, dude, I think they're going to get the... Yeah, I'm not really too worried about that. I think they're going to get to Tom Brady often, and ultimately they'll get enough secondary to just contain Mike Evans. Maybe he has a touchdown, but at the end of the day, I have more faith in Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady's the GOAT. I get it. You like
who's got a career? Who's got the better career record?
All right, who's been better this season? What offense has been better so far? The Chiefs. I know the story, okay?
Oh, really?
We're talking about right now. We're not talking about NFL history.
They put up 17 points last week. They didn't look impressive last week.
I mean, do you see the amount of mistakes on special teams that led to that? Because they could have hung up 30 points in that Colts defense easily. At the end of the day, we're not talking about NFL history. We're not stacking up records. We're just looking at Sunday Night Football. That is it. Patrick Mahomes has been better than Tom Brady. The offense has been better, and I think the Chiefs are going to win this game.
I'm looking at it as Tom Brady's getting some weapons back. So maybe I'm not looking at the history, but I'm looking at the weapons coming back. If Mike Evans and Julio Jones are out there, this Tampa offense is legit. And then with that
hold on, Justin, I'm sorry. No, because this guy said he trusts Patrick Mahomes more, and we're not going off history. All right, fine. Last week against Green Bay's defense, which is arguably a top 5 defense in the league right now, with frickin' Russell Gage as his number 1. Cole Beasley coming off the couch from last week, and Scotty Miller, little Scotty Miller, who can only run a go route. He drove 90 yards late in the 4th, scored a touchdown, and was one delay game away because Leonard Fournette was walking into that end zone on that play. I don't know if you guys saw it. He had clear daylight walking in. It was going to be 14-14 going to OT. What are we talking about? With that offense, he did that. Because it's not about quarter 1, 2, and 3. If your defense can play very well, which we've seen Tampa's defense has played outstanding, you keep him in the game, Tom Brady will be there in the last minutes of the game because that's what Tom Brady does. That's what he does.
Mahomes does the same exact thing, man.
Yeah, but Brady just does it just a little bit more because he has
more of a history doing it. He's been in the league for 20 million years.
Yeah, but even head-to-head.
That is true.
He's got the head-to-head record against
the head-to-head matchup is heavily leaning in Tom Brady's favor, and I do think this is the first time that Pat's really get on the biggest stage. Show, hey man, I can beat
This isn't
Tom.
the biggest stage.
Well,
The
I mean,
biggest
it's
stage
Sunday
is the
night.
Super Bowl.
I mean, for the regular season, Sunday Night Football,
Oh,
Week
okay.
4,
All right.
early in the season.
But the biggest stage is the Super Bowl, and Tom's 1-0 against him. So, all
I
right.
don't think Mahomes has ever beat him.
No, he's beaten him in the regular season. He beat him. I don't think he's ever beat him in the playoffs.
In New England.
Yeah. No, I don't think he beat us in the. He didn't beat us in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes has not beaten Tom Brady in the playoffs.
No, I know. I'm saying in the regular season in New England.
Yeah, he beat him in regular season. Yeah. I forget what game that was, but yeah, he beat us. I think it was once. I'm not sure.
I'm looking it up now. You can continue.
Yeah. So Justin, did you have anything to say left on the Chiefs Bucks game? Did you give final score?
I didn't give a final score. I'm gonna go 26-20 Bucks.
I'll go 21-17 Chiefs.
That's what I said. 21-17. Or I said 2017 Tampa Bay. All right. Moving on to Monday Night Football. The Rams, Los Angeles Rams, taking on the 49ers in San Francisco. San Francisco is favored by 1.5. Los Angeles 2-1. San Fran 1-2. Jimmy G's the guy now. Justin, how we feeling about San Fran? Trent Williams, he's out, not playing.
Monday.
No, that's not what they do. That's not what they do either, man. That's monster truck.
I expect them to keep the Rams at bay. I'm rolling with the 49ers there. I really still believe, I've said it, I believe in this team. I get the Trent Williams injury is very scary, and he's already out, but you hope that he can regroup and get back at some point during the season. But yeah, I'm a Jimmy G guy. I feel like the 49ers have the Rams number. Outside of last year's NFC title game, they were beating them bad. I mean, not smoking them, but, the Rams were frustrated. They were like, what more do we have to do? What do we have to do to beat this team? And John said it yesterday. The 49ers were a dropped interception away from going to the Super Bowl last season. So I believe that it's in San Fran. I think the 49ers just get rolling again. It'll be a close one. It won't be a pretty one. I expect Matt Stafford to turn the ball over. I expect Jimmy G to turn the ball over as long as he's not stepping in the back of the end zone. I think the 49ers find a way to win this ball game. I think it'll be a close one here. So I'm going to go 21-17.
I just got to say, John, before you go, Sean McVay is, I believe, 4-7 in his time as the Rams head coach against Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers.
This is one of those games where you have no pulse on it. Jimmy Garoppolo is undefeated in the regular season versus the Rams, whole 6-0. And coming off that last week against the Broncos, I think he's going to have a big time day. But losing the best offensive lineman in football when you already had issues in the interior and you're switching quarterbacks, and last week you struggled to get the ball to your key playmakers down the stretch when it mattered most, there's basically everyone to blame here in San Francisco. There's not exactly one person you can necessarily blame, whether it's Shanahan, Garoppolo, injuries, the defense not being, I shouldn't even say the defense, not about that, really the offense just not being at the level it should be. And you know what? I think first week without Trent the Rams will win this. I got them winning 24-21. It should be a close game, but at the end of the day, this 49ers offense is probably going to take some weeks to readjust not having their best player on the team.
The 49ers offense or defense?
49ers offense.
Okay. Yeah, Trent Williams is out. So I looked up the last game that the Rams and 49ers played, and Justin alluded to it, the NFC Championship game last year. 20-17, Los Angeles. Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. both completely went off. Odell had 9 catches for 113 yards, and Cooper had 11 catches for $142 and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Odell's not there. Allen Robinson is there now. I think they've kind of started to get. They're starting to hit him a little bit more, not as much as I think they should use him. But I think Cooper Kupp is going to do his thing. I think Matthew Stafford's going to be dealing. He's a gunslinger. He's a risk taker. He's going to throw it, but he can make those unbelievable throws just like anybody. I take his arm up there with the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. He can make all those throws with the side arms, the no looks, behind the backs, the under the legs, whatever the hell, blindfolded. Who cares? I think the Rams, again, another team that has started to get their confidence back after getting beat down in week one. Now they've won their last two, albeit it was against Atlanta and the Cardinals. But they did their job. I think they're about to go on a streak of wins. They got the Niners, and they got the Cowboys, got the Panthers, they got the Niners again, and they got the Bucks, and they got Arizona. They need to. Me and Justin have the bet going this year. That's I got Rams sweeping 49ers this year, so I'm obviously going with the Rams in San Fran. Give me Matt Stafford. Give me Cooper Kupp.
Admit to me that you're a little scared.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of Jimmy G. I don't fear of Jimmy G.
The good-looking Italian's the one that gets you every single time.
Paisano way, but nah, I don't believe in Jimmy G. I think he's not going to make the plays to win you the game. He'll make you the plays that. I mean, yeah, but then you got to say, like, will he make the plays that won't lose you the game? Because we've seen him make the plays that did lose you the game.
He can help you. He can win you a game. In the regular season last year, he showed that.
But give me the Rams, man. Like, I trust Stafford. I think they're going to start getting on a roll. I really do. I think they've started to get their footing, and I think it's going to continue. I think a lot of people like John are going to start eating their crow about having concerns of the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think there's concern. I think they're still going to win this division, be one of the top teams in the NFC. They're not getting beat in the first round. John's out of his mind, but let's go LA. Now Stafford.
Check this out. I think Jimmy G is probably the most motivated quarterback in football right now.
Why is that?
I feel like he was so disrespected going into the offseason. His team basically told him, you know we're not having you back, right? Like you're just done. Thanks for the NFC title trip, but you're gone. So since he's came back as the starter, not only has that been added motivation to prove that, but he has added motivation to fill his pockets a little bit. Check this out. Garoppolo has played at least 25% of the snaps in 2 games, earning an additional $500,000 for meeting that threshold and another $100,000 for his part in the Week 2 win. He can earn another $350,000 if they defeat the Rams. And in total, all the incentives, he has $8.5 million worth of motivation going into this season. I think Jimmy G's going to show up.
Not that his pockets aren't filled with cash. Over $100 million in the bank, probably.
8.5 million extra won't hurt.
It won't.
I'm sure he has a lot to prove this year. So, and this is a big starting point. Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
Yes, indeed.
Did you guys both give your final scores? What's your prediction? Yeah, mine. I think it'll be a closer game. So I'll probably go 24-20 Los Angeles.
If the Rams can't take care of Atlanta and the Cardinals by multiple possessions, it's definitely going to be a close game.
Yeah.
I think I already said my score, but I'm going to change it to 23-17. I'm sorry, bro, but I think your boy Matthew Stafford is going to really throw this team into trouble.
Nah. He wins.
Brand's really convinced by that slight victory last week against the Cardinals.
He's 2-0 now. What are you talking about?
He threw no touchdowns.
2-1.
In the last 2 weeks, he's 2-0. All I know is that he's number one. I mean, where's your guys 49ers? Are they 1-2 or are they 2-1?
Your boy barely scraped by the Falcons.
Yeah.
Remember that. Barely scraped by the Falcons. He did not light up the world against this terrible Arizona defense either. Didn't even throw a single touchdown. Just surprised that he didn't throw an interception. So just count your lucky stars on that one.
Marcus
Yeah, wait.
Mariota, who you called a
Didn't the,
backup, almost beat him. Almost came back.
Didn't the 49ers lose to the Bears?
Week 1 in a monsoon on the road with a basically de facto rookie quarterback, and your
Hey, you guys were
running
saying
back and tight ends
could
both
be
go down.
a Lamar type guy.
He got hurt, so we couldn't see it.
You're gonna keep looking. You ain't gonna find it. You might as well play.
Well, he's gone for the season, so no more talking about Trey Lance.
All right. Let's get into the week 4 NFL pick'ems. Starting up 9:30 in the morning, fellas. It's early week. It starts on Sunday because they in London. All right. We got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the New Orleans Saints. I think I just saw a report that Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas look like they might not be on track to play. That's big, very concerning. Minnesota is favored by 2.5. Would you consider this a primetime game?
A fake one.
So a fake one. So are we going to see Kirk Cousins ball out, or is he going to show primetime form? And
Well, all of America won't be watching, so he'll be fine.
you know what? I think Kirk can get this one done because I think, like John, it's kind of like a fake primetime game, so it's not like a real one. So I think he'll be able to get it done, especially if Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston are out. So give me Minnesota in a close game.
It might get a little bit scary in this one, so definitely watch your P's and Q's. But especially if Andy Dalton's under center, I mean, if they lose this game, the Saints have been absolutely hammered by injuries. And that offensive line last week, jeez. Against Carolina, I expect the same this week against the Vikings. Dalvin Cook's got the shoulder injury, but even if he doesn't play, we have seen what Alexander Madison does. He comes in immediately, and like I just said before, Kirk Cousins, he's going to revitalize it. He's going to get on the right track. I really believe it.
I'm expecting to see 2 gritties out of Justin Jefferson, so I got the Vikings winning this one.
In London. All right.
D-Lonja.
Next up, we got Atlanta. The Cleveland Browns taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Cleveland is favored by 1.5. Cleveland 2-1. You know what? Give me Cleveland. I mean, I love Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I mean, how can you not? So give me Cleveland.
I learned the hard way last week. Nick Chubb is the best running back right now in the entire league. And the Falcons, they'll keep this into a close game, but I hate to say it, I think the Browns are starting off 3-1.
Listen, the Cleveland Browns are a lot better than everybody initially expected. And I think the scariest thing is if they can sustain a decent season up until the point Deshaun Watson comes back, look out. But the same way I think the Browns are a lot better than a lot of people think, so do I think the Falcons. I think the Falcons win this one.
All right, next up, we got the Washington Commanders taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas is favored by -3. Man, Carson Wentz. I mean, give me Dallas, man. Give me Micah Parsons and that Dallas Cowboys defense. I just think it's top 5 defense. I don't care what nobody says. That's a top 5 defense in the NFL.
Trayvon Diggs has been an island so far this year. No crazy big-time splash plays, but very reliable in pass coverage.
He was this close last week.
Oh, right.
I think against the Giants, right? Again, right. He was, oh my God. I don't know how he didn't get it, but. You taking Dallas, John?
You know, my gut reaction was I have Wentz coming in and winning the game, but I think Micah Parsons showed last week against the Giants what this defense is capable of, and that's scary things. And we've seen this Commanders defense without that guy, Chase Young. It is sketchy. So, you know what? Give me Dallas. I got him.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Dallas too, man. By the way, Dallas fans, I'm sorry. I laughed. I said the season was over before it even started. But it really does look like you guys have a legit chance to do something, giving Dak Prescott enough time to heal up. So my bad. I'm going to roll with Dallas this week. The defense is legit. And Cooper Rush, man, the guy's doing his job. So I'm going to give Dallas their respect. Sorry, guys.
And two things. Number one, it speaks volumes to how good that Buccaneers defense is. And number two, Cooper Rush playing at this level, 2 game-winning drives, no interceptions. And most of all, he's been leading the offense well, getting the ball to their playmakers. If he keeps this up, Dak Prescott doesn't have to rush back. He can take his time, and ultimately for this team to win a playoff game and actually do something beyond just making the playoffs, that is the best news, and it's the biggest bright spot right now, the biggest high note.
Hey guys. How about them Cowboys, huh? Let's go.
I wouldn't even say that. I still think it's a
Huh?
shame
You
that
see
we call
Cooper
them
Rush?
America's team. They're not America's team.
Talking about 2 game-winning drives, no turnovers. Justin. Jerry said QB controversy.
Get out of here.
Likes it.
On to the next. On to the next.
Yeah, nah, there should be no QB controversy. That's disrespectful to Dak Prescott. All right, next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. All of us are high on Detroit. We really like the direction they're going. Detroit is favored by 4 points. Give me Detroit. I mean, nothing else I got to say. I love their intensity. I love the way they play. Give me Detroit.
The Seahawks.
DeAndre Swift, I think is unlikely to play, but that kid Williams in the backfield.
Jamal Williams is the man.
I got to start starting him in my fantasy league. I keep messing up.
The Seahawks had their Super Bowl
Yeah,
one.
dude.
Give me the Lions.
Yeah.
Enough of this.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Detroit here. I mean, they had a tough loss last week. I mean, this is a team that could easily be 3-0, which is crazy to say about the Detroit Lions. I'm going to give them the win here.
All right, I love it. I love it. Next up, we got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who have a very weird record when you look at it of 1-1-1. That's going to change this week. I think they get the win. It's in Indianapolis. They're favored by 3.5. Give me Indy. I think they're coming off a big win against Kansas City. I think the confidence is high now. I think they're ready to go. Give me Indianapolis.
This is another game, much like the Rams 49ers in division. 2 teams that have been very questionable, and I have no good pulse on it. But Ryan Tannehill or Matt Ryan, this Colts offense and that defense against the Titans' entire unit, I got to lean Indianapolis at home. I have to.
This is a tough one to pick. I'm with you, John. Part of me actually wants to roll with the Titans this week. Actually, a lot of me wants to roll with the Titans this week. I think Derrick Henry, we haven't seen that true Derrick Henry game yet, and it's just been waiting to pop off. But I just don't think it's this week. So I'm going to roll with Indianapolis, but it'll be a close one.
All right. Next up, we got the battle of both teams. If I told you they were 2-1 at this point, you'd laugh in my face. We got the Chicago Bears taking on the New York Football Giants in New York, in Meadowlands. New York is favored by -3. I mean, who really cares about this game besides JQ and the Giants fans? But you know what? Give me the Giants. I hate to say it, they're going to be 3-1 now. That's insane to say, but give me the Giants.
You know, if there's one thing Chicago can do, it's win ugly. That's it. And I think playing at MetLife in that swamp, what better way, or what more surprising thing to come out of this season than the team I expected to win no more than 2 games to start off 3-1. Robert Quinn this week going up against a rookie in Evan Neal, or Andrew Thomas, excuse me. I think that Bears defense is going to show a lot of people they actually are halfway decent, and I have the Bears taking this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears win and Justin Fields throws for 90 yards and they still find a way to squeeze one out, and it's probably because Daniel Jones fumbles or something. Man,
0 fumbles. None so far.
That's true. That's true. But, man, this is tough. I want to pick the Giants. I really do. But I'm going to go with the Bears. I just feel like for some reason, I don't know how they're squeezing out wins. I really don't know how they're just getting lucky. I think Khalil Herbert is a monster. I don't know if David Montgomery is going to play. I think they just run all over the Giants, man. It'll be close. but I got to go with the Bears.
Can we just mention that Giants' offensive performance? The offensive line, terrible versus Micah Parsons.
Yeah, it was rough.
Tragic.
That was rough.
I mean, you're trying to evaluate Daniel Jones. I don't know if you can glean anything from that game.
I think
Yeah,
Demarcus Lawrence had 3 sacks. Am I right?
Yeah, and Evan Neal. Dude, there was this one play that Micah Parsons made against the Giants where he literally pushed the left tackle out of his way in a blink of an eye, and then the running back was right behind him. He pushed his ass out of the way in a blink of an eye. It was just insane to see that, like, back to back. Just, dear God. All right, next up we got John's game. The New York Jets heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Guys,
Will we see Kenny Pickett?
no.
Pittsburgh favored by 3 points. John, I'm going to kick it to you this one.
I'm
First.
1-2 this year when I pick, and because each and every single time I've won with the Steelers, they've lost, and the one time I went against them, they won. So I have so much faith in them knocking out the Jets. But in typical Steelers fashion, we always lose these games. And it gives me this nagging pit in my stomach knowing we have not won with TJ Watt in over a year. The stat is 0-6-1. And the reason why the Steelers are 0-6-1, I was watching a Brett Coleman breakdown, one of the best YouTubers on the platform, and he broke down how the Steelers' defense is so simple to read. So simple. But the thing that makes it so tough is when you're going up against TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and all these other playmakers in the back end, that talent could overcome go on cover 1 or cover 2 every single time on first down. And then last week we saw against David Njoku, that third weapon, week before with Jacoby Myers, they tear up the Steelers on third down and they don't make those necessary adjustments. And with a new defensive coordinator that hasn't shown the ability to switch things up against a rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson is making a season debut in this game. And with Garrett Wilson, this Jets receiving core, screw it. I'm going with the Jets. I'm going up against my Steelers because this defense has shown me nothing without TJ Watt to really suggest they can shut down the Jets. And there's so much talent on that team and a secondary with Sauce Gardner and TJ Reed that's pretty darn good as well. So I don't like it, but I can't bet on these Steelers right now. They're not playing well. They're a mediocre football team at best, and that is a sad reality when we're trying to win football games.
I think going into every Jets season, Jets fans get so excited. So this is the kind of game that I see Jets fans getting pumped for. So I'm going to roll with the Jets. So they'll win. I think everybody's going to be high off of this win, and then they'll go out next week and lay an absolute goose egg for you guys just to disappoint you guys again. So, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Jets. I think Zach Wilson may or may not be back. But
barring a setback.
Yeah, so I'm going to lean with the New York Jets this week.
Yeah, I think I know what John's trying to do there. He's trying to reverse jinx it by picking the Jets this week.
I am.
So that maybe it works against, and now the Steelers will win.
Listen, I think I'm 1-0 picking the Jets already.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams aren't that good, but give me the Steelers. Give me a team that's led by Mike Tomlin. I'll take it all day. All right, next up, to finish off the 1 o'clock slate of games, the Los Angeles Chargers are taking on the Houston Texans in Houston. LA favored by 5 points. You got to take LA, right? I'm taking LA. Got it, right?
Every year they have those poop ball performances like last Sunday. But like you said, I mean, there's no way they could lose this, right? No way.
You guys know where I'm going with this one, right?
Cut it out.
You guys know where I'm going with this one. You guys told me to cut it out the last time I picked the Houston Texans against the Denver Broncos. You guys are like calling me nuts, but they almost pulled this one out. The Chargers are still injured, still very much injured. Houston, while they aren't playing a spectacular brand of football, I do believe that they've been playing tough football. I think Houston ends up coming out with this one and wins one for the home crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I hope. Come on, LA. You can't lose to Houston. You can't do it. All right, next up,
If there's anyone that could screw it up, it's Brandon Staley and the
Brandon
Chargers.
Staley,
Fandom
yeah.
boy.
He's just a terrible. He's given a terrible reputation of Brandon's everywhere. God damn it, man.
I don't think he's been quite that bad, but it's a very bad look.
Oh man, listen, it's not good. All right, we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Carolina is favored by 1.5. And if I'm not mistaken, who was Atlanta playing this week? Did we get to their game? We all picked the Browns. All right, so Justin went against them. Yeah. I'm taking my Carolina Panthers. You already know it. They beat the Saints. Y'all picked against them. You didn't thought there was a chance, but where there's a will, there is a way. Baker, touchdown maker, taking them over. The Arizona Cardinals. That defense is trash. The Panthers defense has been playing phenomenal. Let's go.
You know, the Arizona defense is trash, but I do think the Carolina Panthers as a team are trash. So while they're favored, I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals this week.
Look, Brand, that was a nice soliloquy you had yourself right there. But this Panthers offense has stunk. Laviska Shenault had a beautiful touchdown last week. That guy's speed and size and takedown inability, it's hard to bring him to the ground. All of it's nice. But at the end of the day, that can go with Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield. It's not a discussion. Matt Rule in this offense is, I don't like calling for somebody's job, but it's abundantly clear to me Matt Rule cannot lead this team to a very high level. And while they're able to beat the Saints last week, Kyler Murray can escape pressure. And I don't think Brian Burns and that entire unit's quite going to be enough to stop what him and Marquise Brown have going on. So I got the Cardinals winning this one. Got them coming on the road and stealing it.
You know, you mentioned the Laviska Shenault touchdown. Did any of you guys happen to see the Spanish broadcast of that touchdown?
No.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely incredible. You know, these guys must have been holding on to this one. Shenault breaks free and he's going down the sideline, going downfield, and they scream. They're like screaming, La Visca, La Visca. And then one of them yells, Hasta la Visca, Hasta la Visca. I was like, yo, this is incredible. I love cheesy stuff like that. You guys
And Sean is quick with pulling stuff up, man.
Incredible. I love that. But it's not good enough for me. I need Arizona coming out with the win.
No. Carolina's going to come out with the win. But
The first comment is literally one of the brightest spots of their team is the Spanish radio calls. Love these guys! Exclamation point.
You guys saw the pass to Shenault, though? Beautiful pass, right?
Beautiful Get out of here. On to the next.
Beautiful pass. Beautiful. All right, next up.
I don't
know about that, John. Put it right between the numbers. It was nice. All right. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos versus the 0-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Two teams that are very disappointing this year. Vegas is favored by 2.5. You know what? I think the woes are going to continue. Give me Denver.
I can't snowball this much, right? Oh, God. The coaching matchup here is ugly. Oh, God. Two first new head coaches, let's say, that really have not shown anything to really give you some confidence. The Broncos defense I have more faith in. But yikes. I mean, at some point, when you give Derek Carr the best receiver in football, top tight ends, and a top slot, I mean, Hunter Renfrow's nickname is literally the slot machine. Talk about the amount of weapons this offense has. There's just no way they start 0-4. It can't be. You know what? They're playing at home. I got to give the Raiders a nod here, but if this is a close one-score affair and they don't get out early, it's the Broncos taking it.
Guys, this is the last time I'm doing it. This is the last time that I'm picking the Raiders. If they do not win, that is it. I'm done the rest of the season. I told you guys yesterday, I'm throwing them overboard. They're not even walking the plank. But this week, I'm just going to say they'll win this one. If they prove me wrong, I'm done. I will never pick the Raiders again.
0-17 or maybe?
Nah,
They
I
might,
don't
they
think.
might as well go 0-17 the way they're making my head feel.
Nah. All right, next up, we got me and Justin's game. I don't know if either of us will watch very much of it because of circumstances, but we got the New England Patriots taking on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. Green Bay is favored by 9.5 points. Yep. Give me Green Bay because I don't know about Mac's injury. Can't trust it. So, and even if he does play, that's not good.
Yeah, I got to go with Green Bay here as well. It's honestly just disappointing, and I hear the disappointment in your voice. There's no excitement going into the week. Brian Hoyer is probably the starting quarterback. Give me Green Bay.
The last time we saw Brian Hoyer play football, I was very mad. Very. I mean, like, good dude, I'm sure, great leader and tremendous guy in the quarterback room. But this isn't a quarterback meeting. This is a showdown with Aaron Rodgers at 425. When the schedule was made, the plan wasn't for friggin' Brian Hoyer versus Aaron Rodgers. It was Bill Belichick versus Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah. Although Jonathan Jones, I believe, is the highest rated cornerback in on Pro Football Focus this whole year. So
That's amazing.
like
It really, as somebody that likes to make fun of the Broncos, to go from Stephon Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year, to J.C. Jackson, to Jonathan Jones, it's almost like Bill Belichick prints elite cornerbacks. Because there were guys before Stephon Gilmore. I mean, trotting all the way back to Ty Law. And that's probably the Patriots' biggest strength.
Yeah, Revis, Aqib Talib, Devin McCourty was a cornerback before he turned safety.
Asante Samuel.
Asante. Yeah, there's Ellis Hobbs. A lot of guys back there, and then Ty Law, obviously. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, listen. Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll see how the season plays out for our Patriots, Justin. All right, next up. Oh no, wait. That's it because we already went in on Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. So that's our picks for the week, guys. All right. So let's move on to the NBA Eastern Central Division rankings. John, I'm going to kick it to you to kick this one off. Number one, I think we're all going to be in agreement.
So last night I was up late, if you couldn't tell with the bags under my eyes, ranking all 30 NBA teams with a variety of categories, right? And number one in the Central Division, it's got to be the Milwaukee Bucks. When you have that big three, and you add in a second year of continuity with Wesley Matthews staying on the team. He's 36 years old. He's getting there up there in age, but a critical component to this team on both ends. Javon Carter, who was terrible last year in Brooklyn, comes to this team and is knocking down three-point shots like he's Steph. A little bit of an exaggeration. And then Joe Ingles coming off of his torn ACL. I'm not a big fan of the roster around the big three, but at the end of the day, if Chris Middleton is good to go coming off of his wrist surgery and his multiple knee injuries from last year, there's no team in the Eastern Conference better than Milwaukee. Who's the best player in the world? To me, it's not even close. It's Giannis. So I had the Bucks at number one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Bucks rolling at number one. And I feel like we would have been talking about the Eastern Conference at least a little bit differently in the playoffs had Chris Middleton been healthy. So there's not much to say on the Bucks. I just expect them to be obviously the cream of the crop. They'll be in the top three. They'll finish in the top three. Giannis is going to be Giannis. And it's just a matter of fact of, is everybody behind him going to be healthy? Is his Robin going to be there? Is Drew going to stay healthy as well? And that's really what it comes down to. This is a long NBA season. You have your load management, but you're all playing for the postseason. Are they going to be healthy by the time they get there? But I think they finished number one here.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. They got Giannis.
I do want to talk. Sorry, but before you end, I do want to mention some of their new additions as well. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off though.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
So in the draft, this team went out and got one of my favorite players, and Marjan Beauchamp, out of the NBA G League. The G League, is really this whole new avenue that's basically pushed the new NBA rule to cut down the NBA draft eligibility age, not to 19, but 18 years old. And Beauchamp, at number 22, he's your typical highly athletic wing. There's no player necessarily I'd exactly compare him to, but super athletic, super raw, but very good instincts, very good defensive potential. And he adds some juice off of the bench. And that's kind of what this Bucks team needs. You have a lot of aging veterans that are getting a little, especially Brook Lopez in the front court with Serge Ibaka. The biggest weakness with this team is by far their depth at the 5 spot, because Brook Lopez, coming off of back surgery last year, showing the playoffs, he's not quite the guy that he once was. So I think for the Bucks, if they can go out and get Jay Crowder, last piece of the puzzle, whether it is a PJ Tucker type piece at the 4 or just another center, that is the one thing that really holds them back from being the exact team that we saw, the replica of that 2021 finals champ. Because there is, you guys would agree with me, that one missing piece without PJ. And I like Marjan, but I don't quite think that he's going to come in and immediately be a rotation player. So until then, I like the shooting on this team. Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton's a solid one. Of course, Joe Ingles, he'll probably miss the first 3 months, but after that, he'll be another high-end shooter. And then last but not least, I'm very high on my guy, Javon Carter. Just a very pesky guard for 15 minutes a game. He can come in, set a tone off the bench. And Bobby Portis as well. That guy last year, career season, 15 and 8 a game. When it comes to spot up and face up game, he has one of the most dynamic shot packages in the game. He can knock down shots from anywhere on the floor. And defensively, he's not good, but he has improved and he has shown a motor. He's tough and he'll compete, but he can't really play the center spot. He can't protect the rim at a high enough level. And you can throw him on the perimeter. He can switch a little bit, but it's not at the level that you like in the postseason at the highest levels against a Tatum or Jaylen Brown. He can't really keep up with those guys. But I like this team just because when you look at star power and shooting, there's no team with more. So I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got the Milwaukee Bucks just by default in this division. I think they got the best player. They got the continuity.
Sure.
Middleton's coming back. I do think I've said this for since we've started this podcast and we talk about Milwaukee, that I think for long-term success, they might need to look into getting some, new fresh guys next to Giannis instead of Middleton and Holiday. I don't know who those guys are, but I think they need to start looking if they want to keep Giannis happy in Milwaukee. All right, number 2 team.
This is an easy one.
I'd go with it. Because of the reports of Alonzo Ball. Prayers up to him. I mean, I don't know what he's dealing with. Apparently the doctors are even shocked by it. Like, even he can't run, he can't jump. It's just like his knee locks up at a certain angle. So prayers up to him. He's not going to play this whole season. I think that was already announced. So number 2, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. They made the big offseason splash move for Donovan Mitchell. They got a really good starting 5. So yeah, give me the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know John is very high on the Cleveland Cavs.
Justin, I want to hear your take because I'm exponentially high on the Cavs.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on how high we are on Cleveland. It's crazy. LeBron left this team in 2018, and now currently the Cavs have 3 All-Stars to go with Kevin Love, LeVert, Okoro, Rubio, Mobley as role players. The Cavs don't play in LA. They don't play in Miami. They don't play in New York. So just a big tip of the cap to their front office. This is my number 2 team, but forget just this season. Going forward, they'll be number 1 for maybe quite a while.
So I had the Bucks ranked at number 1. I've said in the past that when we do this, it's regular season rankings. I can't put the Cavs ahead of the Bucks, but this year, I tweeted this yesterday, I think the Cavaliers, Cleveland, they will be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference in 2023. Let me repeat that. The Cleveland Cavaliers will be the number 1 seed this year in 2023. And to me, it's not really that much of a surprise. Every year we see it, where that one team that was, a 6, 7 seed, they take that jump. And when looking at the moves that the Cavaliers made and the type of health they're going to come into the season with, a year ago, I had them winning 22 games, and that wasn't crazy because you look back at the roster in 2020, The starting lineup was Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, arguably the worst rookie in the whole league at the time, Jetty Osman, Kevin Love, who didn't want to be there, absolutely hated Colin Sexton, and Andre Drummond at center. Now they have, like you said, Justin, 3 All-Stars. And the craziest thing about that 3 All-Star mix is the best player in this team 2 years from now is not even a part of that group. Evan Mobley gives me every single shit of Kevin Garnett I could look for. Discipline, decision-making, work ethic. The kid is the Kawhi type. He's one of the toughest workers in the league, but you're not going to see him posting about on Instagram highlights. He's a true winner, and he's been that at every single level from his high school days to USC. Last year, he was, to me, the rookie of the year because defensively, he comes in, and with Evan Mobley, or with him and Jared Allen, there's no team in the league with more rim protection. The weakness was a guard alongside Darius Garland, and I've said this so many times. Garland would just get doubled or triple teamed because there was no one really else that was a threat on this offense. Mobley was fine, but they didn't want to give him too much responsibility in year one, so they pulled the reins back a little bit for him. Now you're riding a top 20 player that in the playoffs, the last 3 years has averaged 32 points a game on 41% three-point shooting, and at 6'1", over 50% from 2-point. The Cavaliers have everything you look for in a contender. They really don't have any deficiency outside a true top-of-the-line star. Rim protection, shooting, playmaking, shot-making, perimeter defense with Isaac Okoro and Evan Mobley. Heck, Karis LeVert in Brooklyn was a halfway decent defender. And maybe the most vital thing is continuity. These guys have skill sets that mesh so well together. I see a very smooth integration with Donovan being tossed in because he's really just filling in for Colin Sexton. And he is an immediate upgrade. So I have the Cavaliers finish as the number 1 seed right there at the Milwaukee Bucks. But the Bucks in the playoffs, you already know, I got them higher than this Cleveland team.
Wait, John, I just wanted you to clarify. Are you talking next year you have Cleveland number 1?
2023 number 1.
So next year.
This year, 2023.
But you picked the Bucks as the number 1 team in the division this year.
I think they're better, and they have a higher chance of winning the title, which is why I have them getting that slant nod. But in the regular season, I had the Cavaliers, kind of like the Utah Jazz, shocking a lot of people and getting number 1. Probably going to be like 53 wins as the number 1 seed in this Eastern Conference, but it still means something.
All right. Okay, so number 3 team, I'm going to give it to Chicago. They still, even with Lonzo Ball being out, they still have some a really good amount of talent. Kobe White, I'm waiting for him to really show us if he can be that, all-star caliber player. Excuse me. They got DeRozan, who's coming off a career year. Zach LaVine's going to be healthy. Vucevic is there. Their 4 is
Patrick Williams.
Patrick Williams, thank you. Yep. Yeah, the Paul. So yeah, give me Chicago right there. I think I'm going to put them there because they're more experienced than the other 2 teams, and they have more talent than the other 2 teams. So I'm going to take Chicago right there, number 3.
This is a very tough year for Chicago. Just Chicago sports in general. The White Sox eliminated. The Cubs suck. The Bears suck. And then here are the Bulls, who have just been plagued with injuries, and Lonzo Ball with knee surgery, upcoming knee surgery. I don't know if he's had it already. John, you should know more than I do on that. But this is a team plagued with injuries, so I feel like their ceiling is a bit capped. DeMar DeRozan coming off of a career year. I don't think we're going to see that version of him again. So I have to go with the Bulls 3rd, just because I don't believe the other teams behind them had the talent to compete. But the Bulls are just going to be the Bulls, maybe a play-in team to me.
Justin, you and I are in the same boat here. I think you are as well, BCAT. So in this Eastern Conference, you have about 11 teams trying to win games. And honestly, if you're going to include Charlotte, 12. The crazy thing is, for the Chicago Bulls, guys, they traded 2 first-round draft picks and Wendell Carter Jr. to the Orlando Magic for Nikola Vucevic. And last year, Vuce basically forgot how to shoot the 3-ball. That was one of the staples of his game in Orlando, and it's always tough being a 3rd option anywhere, but in the playoffs, he was terrible. And when I look at this Bulls roster, some team out of this group of 9, 10 teams is gonna miss the playoffs, and I think it's them. And the reason why, Brandon, you said that Zach LaVine's healthy. For now, they have the worst injury luck in the entire NBA. When I was going through it, when I grade durability for this team, I'm giving it an F. Lonzo Ball has underwent multiple knee surgeries, 2 of them, and the fact that no one actually knows what's going on with his knee, when that's your third most important player here, it's just a sign of what's to come. Every single year, the Bulls are torn to shreds by injuries.
I do have to say, I think if Lonzo Ball was healthy, I think Vucevic would be able to perform at a better level because he's got that guard who's going to set him up, pick and roll, play, basically get him open and get him good shots and stuff like that. Because who's the start? It's Colby White as the starting point guard with Lonzo out, right? Or
I think it's going to be Ayo Dosunmu at point guard.
okay. I don't know much about him. I
can
don't
tell
even think
you.
I've ever seen him play.
He's a Chicago kid that he can play make and got pretty big this summer. Halfway decent shooter. And defensively, he can really only guard guards, but just a very good rookie last year. The second round pick, probably the steal outside of Herbert Jones in the second round. I think he's better than Kobe White already.
I really like Colby White's talent. I think he's got all the talent in the world. It's just inconsistent, got to put it together.
Agreed.
So next up, I know I would imagine John is really high on this team. Detroit, I got number 4. They're starting to make some good moves, starting to move in the right direction. I'm not as big on Cade Cunningham as other people because I haven't seen a lot. I'll admit it. I really haven't. So maybe I see more this year if they have more nationally televised games. Yeah, I got them number 4. I don't think they make the playoffs though, or the play-in.
Hell no. So we're looking at the Eastern Conference. We have the Bucks, who to me are number 1, the Celtics, the 76ers, the Miami Heat, the Toronto Raptors, the Brooklyn Nets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, so I just had as the number 1 seed, the Atlanta Hawks. That's 8 right there. 9, the Chicago Bulls. 10, Charlotte Hornets. 11, New York Knicks. 12, Washington Wizards. The Pistons might be the 13th seed here. So they go out and they get Bojan Bogdanovic a week ago, probably top 10, top 15 shooter in the whole league, that for the last 2 years averaged almost 20 a game. And in Utah, where we always like to shame Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert for not getting it done, it was the role players put in place in Bojan, Joe Ingles, Royce O'Neal that got that team to click on an elite level. So when you add one of the top 15 shooters in the league to another top 20 shooter in Sadiq Bey, they're surrounding Cade Cunningham with the necessary floor spacing to basically, Brandon, what he reminds me of, a little bit of Jaylen Brown's footwork and pull-up game from mid-range, and Luka Doncic's feel and vision into one player. And that right there is a top 3 or 4 young player under 25 years old in the league. He has every single trait you look for in a franchise player, and a point guard, he has the size to take advantage of mismatches. He can create for himself off the dribble and in isolation. Very good ball handler, and he's deceptive in his ability to create off of the attack, get downhill, and find open teammates. Very intuitive passer. I think he's going to be a superstar. Don't think he'll ever be an MVP per se. I think that we'll have to see more. He was very inefficient as a rookie, below 50% true shooting. But with the necessary talent around him this year, and Jaden Ivey coming in number 5 overall pick, the Pistons had the best young backcourt in the league outside of the Cavaliers. So much talent there. But at the end of the day, the bench is deplorable. Killian Hayes, Hamidou Diallo, Corey Joseph. There's really not much. Beef stew I like. There's really not that much there for the Pistons to really have much more than like 30 wins this season.
I think for the Pistons, much like the Knicks, is more about just being patient. So I do have them finishing 4th in the division, but yeah, it's just preaching patience. They're a young team, a lot of young, exciting pieces coming in. This is a team that I feel like has been, I guess, in purgatory. There's just no elevation. We haven't seen them, grow for quite a while. But you got Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, who I think are going to be special young players. So, like I said, just let them be rookies. Don't have all these expectations for them. Just let them go about their rookie season and develop. And the same thing with Cade going into another year. We'll see what they have to offer. Year by year, you get better. And that's how you grow. It's really patience. Look at Cleveland. Patience, then now where you're at. And so we'll see. But the Pistons should be a very good team in a couple of years. This is just a growing process.
Let me ask you guys this question. Who do you guys think? Because I just heard John say Cade is going to be a superstar, he thinks. Where do you think him and LaMelo rank? Where do you think what's LaMelo's ceiling? Superstar?
LaMelo has all NBA potential. I don't think LaMelo will ever be a top 3 point guard. I don't think he'll ever be in the same tier as Luka, Trey, Ja, and honestly, while I think he has a little bit more upside than Darius Garland, I don't see LaMelo fulfilling his entire potential to be better than Darius. Because Darius is only 1 year older, and I mean, he's like a top 20, top 25 player in the league. So to answer your question, I think Cade can be a top 3 or 4 point guard. LaMelo, he's in the Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey camp. I think he can be top 10. And he already is top 15 right now. So yeah, I think he's a whole step below Cade.
I think LaMelo has superstar potential, but he's playing for the Charlotte Hornets. That's the problem.
I mean, I'm projecting that he's not going to be in Charlotte and he's going to be able to fulfill his potential somewhere else, whether it's like in LA, Miami, or whatever the hell big team he goes to. I'll take LaMelo's future over Cade.
You want to?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Kawhi's older. He's 31, or he's 30. Paul George is 31. In 2 years, when the Hornets inevitably never make the playoffs with LaMelo, PG's 32, by the way, the Clippers, I don't know if John Wall will be there, and even if he is, they're a much better run team than the Lakers. And the biggest market in sports is Los Angeles. LaMelo's from LA. Everything points, and this is just my opinion, I'm not an insider in the NBA, everything points to LaMelo becoming a Los Angeles Clipper.
That'd be a good fit.
When all things considered, they have an elite head coach, one of the best run teams, and as of right now, they're the most glamorous market for good reason. So for LaMelo, once he gets that rookie max extension, I'm anticipating him to request a trade in 3 or 4 years. Because why would you want to stay in a place that it's a small market, poorly run? Yeah, MJ's the owner, but I mean, the GM's terrible, and the team around you is not very good. Miles Bridges last year is probably their best player, and I don't think he's going to be on the team in a year. Why would you stay in that market if you can make more money and do what's best for your brand, which is playing playoff games in the biggest entire hotspot in the entire league? So I mean,
he's not going to stay.
Sorry to kind of distance from the Central Division talk, but I don't see LaMelo staying.
No, he's not staying. I will just say this: I am very high on LaMelo. I think I'm the highest out of all three of us. I think he's got top 5 player upside. Like, I think that can be his ceiling. But we got to see his potential filled out, and it's not going to be in Charlotte. Moving on to the final team, the last team ranked in this division, I got Indiana. It looks like they're in full rebuild mode. I kind of expect Buddy Hield and Miles Turner maybe not to be on the team by midway through the season, towards the All-Star break. So yeah, Indiana's in full rebuild mode, so they're the 5th.
Tyrese Halliburton's going to win most improved player. He's already better than De'Aaron Fox. Let me repeat that. Tyrese Halliburton's already better than De'Aaron as well. And that's the kind of surprising thing, that the Pacers were able to get him for a player, Domantas Sabonis, who they were looking to move off of. And every team in the league knew that for over a year. But Halliburton, this guy can be a top 20 player in the league. And you basically got him in a point where he was worth way more than Sabonis in terms of value, but no one really knew he was on the market. This upcoming season, the Pacers, you get in Benedict Mathurin, top 6 pick in the draft, a second year with Chris Duarte, and like you said, Brandon, Miles Turner and Buddy Hield are 2 very touted veterans for their abilities on both. Definitely not Buddy Hield on defense, but Miles Turner with Domantas Sabonis showed he can play the 5, space the floor, stands out the 3-point line, is a good rim protector. Those 2 guys should be traded, but they're injury prone, each of them. They haven't been able to finish either season the last couple of years. So for the Pistons, what's going to happen is whether or not Miles is injured or if he gets traded, the second breakout with this team is Jalen Smith. Many basketball fans don't even know who he is. So the Suns take him over Tyrese Halliburton in the draft, in spite of needing a guard who would kind of be the successor to Chris Paul. One of the stupidest moves I've ever seen in the draft. Because you didn't need sticks. You had Dario Saric, one of the best backup bigs in the game, and a couple of others who could have filled that role admirably. And after 1 year, one season, they barely used Jalen Smith. They decline his third-year option on his rookie contract. After his second season, not even halfway, they move him to Indiana for Torrey Craig, a wing player that was so bad for the Suns by the end of the year, he wasn't even in the rotation. Jalen Smith has the athleticism, the shooting ability to play both forwards, both the center and power forward spot, and playing off of one of the 10 best passers already in the league in Tyrese Halliburton. Let me tell you, this year they're going to have multiple breakouts in that rebuilding team. And much like the Pistons, when you look at teams that have been rebuilding for forever, but ultimately have been stuck in purgatory because they're not good enough, they're finally going all in on the lottery. And that's the best way in this league to put yourself in a position to contend. So I'm excited for the Pacers. I'm excited.
I think the Pacers are the worst team in the Eastern Conference.
I'd agree with you.
So I don't really need to say too much on them. I just expect them, like you said, they'll be in the lottery. They're just fighting for the number one pick at this point.
The tough race to win, dude. I don't think they're going to be that bad. Because in the Western Conference, you have the Spurs, the Thunder, Rockets, and Jazz, who are all gunning for 20 wins tops.
They got worse, though. They're not better than last year.
Oh, the Pacers?
No.
I'm expecting Halliburton to take a big jump, and I think they did get better. This time a year ago, they were obviously a better roster because they had Sabonis and TJ Warren, who literally did not play a single game for them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I don't know. I think OKC got better. All right. So that concludes our NBA Eastern Conference division breakdowns. We will be doing Western Conference next week. So, John, I know you wanted to talk about this. We got some changes coming next year in the NFL. Pro Bowl out, flag football and skills competition in. Tell me about it.
Pretty simple. The NFL for a long time needed to get rid of the Pro Bowl because no one watches it. And you want players to go to the Pro Bowl, whether it's in Hawaii or now Vegas. And the best way to do that is eliminate the risk of any injury. When you have 17 games now in the NFL season, the risk of injury shouldn't be heightened by a meaningless football game where you're hitting each other. No one's really trying. And as the saying goes, when you're messing around and playing 50%, that's when an injury can occur, when you're not going 100% with your head on the swivel. So I'm glad it's about time we kind of soothe Pro Bowl weekend for players to not actually dread it or skip it, but rather they kind of say, oh, let me go to it for the fans.
Pro Bowl has always sucked. The only league that I feel actually does a good job with their All-Star game is the MLB. Yeah, I don't even think the NBA one is spectacular. Sometimes to me, it's a snooze for 3 quarters. So honestly, it's about time. The only time I look forward to the Pro Bowl is when I'm playing Madden. That is it. I'm not going to sit there and watch skills competition. I'm sorry. I'm 24 years old, but I really don't want to watch a bunch of NFL players play dodgeball. So just even the skills competition to me is whatever. So I'll be skipping that week and I'll just have a relaxing week of no football until the Super Bowl.
I think that's a little hard. I mean, listen, the dodgeball could be fun. I'm more looking forward to them bringing back who could throw the farthest, because now we got guys with kids. Don't you want to see that? Mahomes, Josh Allen, Stafford, Lamar, Herbert throwing competition. Who could throw the farthest? Like really find out who could throw it. An accuracy competition. I know they've had that for the last couple of years. I want to see the kicking competition come back. I want to see a race come back where, Tyreek talking a lot of smoke. Well, let's see these other fast guys, and I want to see them actually try and whatnot. I love them to bring back those type of competitions. It should have been flag football from the start. I mean, they basically really didn't try at all. It became a absolutely terrible. Like nobody wanted to really watch it. But yeah, I'm glad they're making changes now. And apparently Peyton and his production is going to have a major impact and influence on this. So that's always a good thing because I think Peyton's got a bright mind for entertainment and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm good move by the NFL. Good move.
Definitely good move. I guess that wraps up episode number 30, huh?
That's it. Anybody got anything else to say? Not sports related or football related? That's it.
That's it. Unless you guys should just be tuning in Friday night. Yankees take on the Baltimore Orioles. Watch Aaron Judge break the AL record for home runs.
All right. Watch along with Justin. See his boy Aaron Judge. All right. That was episode 30 of the Wise Guys podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the content. Follow us on our personal socials. Follow us, the Wise Guys Pod, their social accounts. All that will be in the description. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out BetStamp. Use the code WiseGuys, WISEGUYS, Wise Guys. Let them know we sent you. And yep, that was it. I've been Brandon Capizzello. That was John Tortorelli. And he was Justin Ray. And we got 2 words for you.
Stay classy.